Hi wonderfuls, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tasha, aka Miss Kiof, and if this is your first time on my channel, welcome, and if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I want to give a bit more informative videos of what I have learned to share with you, that maybe this is something that you can consider. Now this video is going to be about things to know before van life, or things I wish I knew before van life. So my situation is a little bit different to your typical person that would choose to have van life. I think it's particularly different, but I think there's also a lot of people that would have had a similar experience to me, that you were forced into van life quicker than what you thought. So for me, I had always dreamed to be a full-time van lifer, but ideally I wanted to plan everything, do everything, because I've been watching van life series on YouTube for so many years now, and it's something that I've always dreamed about. So I love watching, like I prefer to watch YouTubers van life than watching Netflix, which is crazy because I love Netflix, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I landed up moving into a van full-time. I'll have timestamps as well, so you can skip ahead for anybody who doesn't really want to hear me talk about my life. I have written actually 10 things that I want to talk about. So I am building my van whilst I'm living in it full-time, whilst I'm trying to pay off my debts. So it's a bit of a challenge. And to top it off, I'm living in a city, which is, in my opinion, is a little bit more challenging, because you would think that city life would be easier, but it's actually harder because of parking. So I have to actually pay for parking, just to make sure that I'm not always stressing myself out about parking, but we'll get into that later. So let's get into the 10 things of living in the van, which I wish I knew before. So number 1, don't excite buy, especially with no budget. So I landed up buying my porcelain sink, I landed up getting free wood, I landed up dismantling pallets. I thought I'd do all these cool things. Just don't even scrap that idea. Unless you've got a workshop or you've got a place of home to store all these extra bits, don't buy it. Buy what you need when you need it. So especially when you have no budget. And that's one of my biggest lessons, because it's really started putting a lot of, like, I'm now living in my van with all my building materials, and it's the most, like, uncomfortable thing. Number 2, budget for insulation and ventilation first, and get a diesel heater. So obviously it depends when you're going to do your van build, where you are in the different continents, countries, wherever. But I'm in the UK. I bought my van in the summer. It's getting winter. And to be honest with you, in the summer already, I should have had great insulation and ventilation straight away. But obviously, my budget, I never had it. And that's why I was trying to upcycle a lot of things. But it's just not going to be there. So if you're on a budget, you're thinking of what you want to do, my advice to you is find out how much insulation is going to cost. Buy those materials first. Get your air vent and get a diesel heater fitted, because then you know when the temperature drops, you're sorted, okay? Because at the moment, I'm coming to my van. There's a little bit of condensation on the top. I don't have a roof, like insulation on the roof yet. And things are starting to get a little bit damp, which is concerning me a lot, and that's why I'm super stressed. But anyway, number 3 is electricity. So my situations, I'm very lucky, because I am working in a shared co-working space at the moment. That's why my situation is a little bit different. I knew that I would have this specific place. That's why I just rushed into getting a van, because I knew that I would have a backup to kind of the living thing, if that makes sense. So electricity, get electric in your van. Like, I'm not even joking. If you can get the solar panels stored with the like a portable power station, even, just do it. At the moment I've only got 2 power banks, and that's to charge my phone and my iPad, and then I've got the USB socket in the front when I drive. But because I'm not driving a lot, like I sat in Lidl's car park for like 2 hours charging my things and just sorting out my van. So I'm actually very dependent on electricity in terms of obviously navigation and watching things. So if I could have planned this better, I would have sorted out my portable power station already. It's just necessary. But at the moment, because I am in a co-working space, I am lucky that I can charge my devices here and I don't have to have electric in the van yet. And also another thing is, the problem with that is that I'm staying out later and my days are becoming longer because I don't have electric in the van. And I'm spending more money on food because I'm not cooking in the van, I'm not have a fridge in the van, so it's just, I have to like buy a certain way in order for me to not be too expensive, but it's affordable, but it's still expensive. So electricity is a must. Okay, for parking is a bit of a nightmare sometimes because you don't know where you're going to park. And for me, like I said, I work 3 days in the city, so I don't particularly want to be like, oh, where am I going to work, where's the stress. Like, I couldn't handle it. I was traveling in, I was finding free parking and then traveling in via public transport, but then I did the calculations and it came up over £100 a month. I was like, this is a lot of money. So now I found a parking space where I can pay monthly for it. I don't have to stress about it. It's still inconvenient because I have to be super stealth. It can be inconvenient at time, but what's great is I don't have to worry that I have to move my car, or you know what I mean. This is why city van life is a little bit complicated and I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. It's difficult. It really is difficult. But not just that, even if you're on the road, parking can be challenging and you've got to do a lot of research. And Park for Night is a hit and miss. Don't depend too much on Park for Night because I've been to a few park-ups that have been great and others have not been great. So I just felt like it just felt a bit dodgy, and you know, you then waste petrol when you drive, you know, all this blah 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 stuff. Okay, 5, laundry. Laundry is so expensive, and actually I do laundry at least once a week that I feel I need to. So the only way I can avoid this is if I buy extra underwear and extra clothes to rotate, so that, like, ideally I could easily do laundry once a month, okay? But I don't necessarily have all those, like, I need to make sure my knickers are clean, you know, and also tops and work clothes, and you know, so that for me at the moment is a little bit of a struggle because I have to do laundry at least once a week, and with the summer not here now, I can't have anything damp in the van, so, and bedding needs to be changed, and that's costing me now £12.50 a load to wash and dry. So think about that. Once every week, that is without bedding, that's with bedding, or it is £50. With bedding, it will be another £12.50 on top, which is like £62.50 for just laundry. So ideally, I would want to stay at a campsite, but that's just something to consider, that because of the cost of living now, laundry is very expensive. So ideally, I would rather buy more leggings and clothes to wear longer, so you just do like a massive pile of 2 once a month or something crazy like that. But that's still like an ongoing conundrum, and it could be where I am as well, could be more expensive. But having friends and family near you would be a plus. I don't particularly have that luxury. I live by myself, and you know, I don't have the luxury of having friends around the corner. Okay, 6. You have to ensure that you have got your 1s and 2s sorted out. Let's put it that way. Number 1s is not a problem for me. A Shewee is fantastic, to be honest. The little bottles. I know it might seem a bit weird, but to be honest, it does the job. It's easy. It takes away that uncomfortable feeling. You don't have to leave your van. It's pretty like awesome. Number 2s, definitely make sure you have a seat for a woman. Because it's so uncomfortable. Like, I've been in an emergency situation where it just wasn't a good thing. But again, if you know and planning your journey, you can stop along the way. Like, I've only had one emergency situation, but I usually am outside the van all the time. I've never had to go in a bush, which is good for now. But I need to get a toilet, like those folded seat things. So if I was to have a number 2, then it would be sorted. But I would take it out straight away. I wouldn't drive, and I definitely do not opt for Portaloos because they are nasty, they're disgusting, and I prefer to just get rid of my 1s and 2s straight away rather than keeping it manifesting and being nasty. It's not for me. 7, a bed. So I didn't realize how much I needed a bed, like a proper comfy bed. And when it comes to this as well, warmth. So I have a duck feather blanket, and as much as it is there for, it's mostly the purpose now for a duck feather blanket is comfortability. It gives a more cozy vibe in the van. You lay on my bed, you feel like you're on like a bougie bed. The problem with it is that it retains the cold. It doesn't retain heat. So I don't know, I might change this moving forward. I might get rid of it and get something more fleecy. But I don't know, I'm pretty attached to that duvet. So I would invest more in fleece, because fleece retains heat. It doesn't lose heat. And that's something I'm definitely going to upgrade for the van, is get a more fleecy blanket and pillow covers, so that the bed is more warmer and not losing heat in the van. Then number 8, prioritizing functionality. What do I mean by that? And declutter. So something that I've learned is functionality and practicality. It goes over everything. I still dress good, I still look good, but now that I'm living in the van, I actually don't mind getting rid of some stuff, because I don't feel like, I'd rather have something have a practical purpose than it look amazing, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to finishing the van build to make it more practical, then I can really declutter. But for now, prioritize what purpose does each item serve. If it's a no, get rid of it. If it's a yes, keep it. That's the best way. Number 9, get a freaking good mechanic. Like, especially if you're like me on a budget, you didn't have a massive, like, you didn't have £3,000-4,000 to spend on a van and be able to, like, or actually £5,000 to £10,000 to spend on the van. If anything below 5,000, you want to make sure you've got a good mechanic, so that you are working on that van to make it to keep, you know, like, if you keep up the maintenance of the van will take care of you. That's my logic. So I've spent so far £450. I will be spending more money for sure. But 10, this was one of my biggest things that I wish I knew before I moved in the van, and this is tools. Power tools. Power tools are like liquid gold for me. They make everything a lot more easier. You can just get on with it. When you don't have power tools, it's long, labor, and frustrating. Okay, and community. The van life community is actually something very special. People, there is politics, others there is just support everywhere. I have had incredible support so far, and it's made me feel less alone, which is pretty cool. So I would definitely get into that communities first before embarking on this journey and just learning from others, really. And I'm going to a van life get together, and they're gonna help me install my diesel heater. Well, they're gonna install my diesel heater for me, because I want it done correctly, and I'm just super paranoid basically with that. So yeah, I don't recommend living in the van and building the van. I feel like that's my biggest stress at the moment, especially when I've got a dissertation and a work, you know what I mean? If I was just like no work all the time in the world, I could do it, but you need money to spend on the van, so this is my situation. It can be done, and I'm doing it right now, but it's definitely very frustrating for me. But anyway, this video is carried on far too long. I hope you've liked it. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If it's been helpful, please let me know. And if you're wondering why I am always in the studio recording, it's because I have to be stealth, and I haven't been traveling a lot in my van lately, especially now with Mercury retrograde. I'm not traveling. I'm just focusing on my dissertation, so I'll be doing a few videos here in the studio, and then I'll be back on the road in October, which is great. Also, if you want to support my channel in any way, I do have a supporter membership, and my PayPal down below, and my Amazon wish list. You don't have to, but it's nice to maybe help me with something towards my van or my van build, or some diesel. Anyway, bye bye.